It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and let's check out Mallee Netball and what happened there across the weekend. A couple of tight matches over the weekend, and Nicole McMahon is back to help walk us through them. Nicole, how are you?
Hi, Jason. Good. How are you?
Good to have you back. Yes, going well, thank you. And your crew, Lamoureux, is going all right as well. They had another nice win on the weekend against Murrayville by 7 goals this time.
Yes, they did. So they've won the last 2 games, which I think feels very good. It's probably a bit of a relief after a bit of a tough start to the year. 7-goal win. They were actually down after the first quarter. I wasn't able to get there this week, and lovely Jeff Branson, who's president of Lamoureux, was Snapchatting me the game, so I got to see a bit of it. But it was a bit of a messy start for kind of both sides, and Murrayville was certainly first settle, and I think they might have been up by about 7 goals that first quarter, but yeah, Lamoureux just chipped away. I think they were back up by 4 goals at half time, and just played probably more of a consistent 4 quarters. Great to see Lamoureux kind of getting that second win on the board. Still very well contended by Murrayville. I think there's definitely top 4 contenders there. But no, Lamoureux too strong for them on Saturday, played at Murrayville.
Indeed, and that puts Lamoureux back inside the top 4 for the first time this season. We'll talk about the ladder in a little bit more detail soon, but we have to talk about the match of the round. In the end, it was Peak taking on BDT, and we know when BDT's back to the wall, or back is to the wall, that's when they're at their most dangerous, and I'll tell you what, they almost got the job done here against Peak, who hung on, clung on, clawed on by 1 goal.
Oh, I think BDT will be getting very hungry. Peak, they did this to us last year, and they just know how to win these tight games. And they, of course, bet Lamoureux by only 2 goals a few games ago. So, to win by 1 goal, that really hurts. And Borders really needed that win, because that's, of course, put them out of the top 4 now, finishing only with 1 win at the end of this first round. They, once again, scraping the barrel for players that has 3 vouchers, including Deb Saunders making a comeback, which is great to see. And, BDT have got a few players there, Jackie Vanderleer, who might make a comeback. Mel Schilling, who's the coach, I could see her putting a dress on. No, she'd kill me for saying that. But I wonder if we might see a few more of these faces making a comeback, because they have just had so many ins and outs every week. But no, they it was a come from behind win for Peak. They just, definitely don't give up that side. And I think Coach Bianca Carl has been really impressed with her team's attitude. Robin Lehman, a great game for them. She's very valuable all over the court, which is handy in a year like this year when you have players in and out, and just showing some great defensive pressure even from playing goals. I think Peak had a few girls isolating, but they all joined at quarter time on FaceTime. So that might have been the secret to winning, but just the sign of the times, isn't it? So Peak's second win for the round, and has put them in 3rd spot. So well done to Peak.
Absolutely. They're going okay, the Peak Crews. So the last match of the round, we didn't expect this scoreline, let's just put it that way. Karoonda taking on Pinnaroo, and, top of the table clash, and Karoonda absolutely wiped the floor with them. There's no other way to put it than that. 58-20.
Absolute shock at this score, that's for sure. And they sit the top 2 teams according to our ladder, which is really surprising, a 38-goal margin. Pinnaroo did have a couple of players out, with Abby and Zara Keogh not playing, which is quite that does have quite an impact on their team. Both very strong feeders, Pinnaroo just could not get that ball into their goalie. Some really strong defensive pressure from Karoonda. Shaylin Pake in at goalkeeper especially.
Yeah, that's a massive scoreline, isn't it?
To only shoot 20 goals as well, like that, 5 goals a quarter, if my baby brain's correct. Might get my calculator out, but that's not many goals at all for A grade, is it? So that just shows how and in netball, I'm sure everyone listening knows the rules, but you get every second centre pass, so there's equal opportunity. But yeah, so Corinda obviously very strong defensively. Emma Dubner had a great game for Pinaroo in goalkeeper, up against Abby Pake, who's just been a consistent shooter for Corinda week in, week out. But yeah, Corinda just having control from the start, just really giving Pinaroo no window throughout the whole game. And I think just setting that bar really high for where you need to be if you want to be top of the ladder this year.
That is definitely the case. And Pinaroo are better than that, so we won't read too much into that scoreline. I think you're exactly right there. But well done, Corinda. You can only beat what's there for you to beat, and they've done it 5 times from 5 starts. They're on top of the ladder and undefeated for a reason. But it gets a little bit tighter beyond that with Pinaroo and Peak on 3 wins, and then Lameroo on 2, Murrayville and BDT on 1 each, and that's the order of the ladder as it sits, right?
It is, and I can't think of a year where Borders would have finished bottom of the ladder ever after round 1. So I think, there is only one way for Borders to go, so there'll be one to watch. I can see them etching their way up. But, not to understate Marvel or Lameroo either. I think Peak will be trying to really hold on tight to that third position. Corinda and Pinaroo, I think, have probably proven themselves as top 2. And I both see, they're only going to get stronger as well. And both teams, I think, are clever enough not to get too comfortable or confident either. They'll keep working really hard. But it's interesting, I think, when you look at the percentage, always tells another story. Lameroo, quite a strong percentage there and higher than Peak. So that shows, Peak have been lucky. They've had 2 really close wins. So they are probably lucky to have that, have those 3 wins under their belts. But in the end, they are able to finish those games off, and that's what's important. So we'll see what the next 5 games bring.
Yes, we will. Before we get to who's playing who this week, team of the week, let's go through it.
Yeah, so we had for the goalie Robin Lehman. So she's been in the team of the week a few times in the centre court and now in goals. Very versatile player, as I said. From Borders, we had Erin Thompson as well as Lucy Dow. For centre court, we had Kiara Pake, a very regular appearer in our team of the week from Corinda. Shauna Chaplin from Lameroo, Madeline Keith from Marvel, and young Jessica Kerr from Corinda. Defence, we had Emily Tonkin from Lameroo, another consistent player that's been there a few times. Delia Stevenson from Peak, and Shaylin Pake from Corinda. And the subs for this week, Chelsea Barrett from Marvel and Emma Dubnett from Pinaroo.
All right, there you go. So that leads us now into this weekend's round of matches, round 6. And we've got some interesting ones amongst them too. Let's have a look at them. Well, it's probably the match of the round, this one, even though BDT are at the bottom of the ladder. Bit of a rivalry developed over the years between these two. Pinaroo hosting BDT, and we know at some point they're going to get going, the BDT crew, but Pinaroo will be smarting after last week, so not an ideal week to get them.
Yeah, that's it. Pinaroo are never ones to have that type of game 2 weeks in a row. They will have trained very hard and will come out firing. This is usually the top 2 teams, or at least within the top 3, Pinaroo and Borders. So, as I said, very interesting to see Borders at the bottom of that ladder, but I'm sure they won't be there for the rest of the year. But when I asked Mel, coach of BDT, how they were looking for this week, she may have sworn, so I won't repeat what she said on radio, but just having a lot of fun with players in and out. They've got Holly Hughes, Erin Tonkin and Taylor Francis out this week, but they do finally have Em Richo back. She was just an absolute powerhouse player, plays through, I'm assuming she'll be in the goals, so she will make a difference, but a pity though that they haven't, still aren't able to get that full lineup. Zara Keogh will be back in after a niggly calf injury. So the first time these guys met in week 1, it was a 2-goal win to Borders, and that was their only win for the whole round. So I think Pinaroo will probably get this one back. I think it will be close, but I reckon they'll be able to win convincingly by at least 10 goals.
Okay. We move to Murrayville hosting Peak. Peak need to keep winning to keep locking down that spot in the top 4. But Murrayville, a win here for them, and by the end of the round, they could be in the top 4. So plenty to play for both teams here.
Yeah, and two quite similar sides, I think. It is also Marvel's Indigenous round, which is really cool. They've got some special bibs and socks that they'll be wearing. And I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that last year's Indigenous round may not have happened due to COVID cancellations. But I could be wrong. I know it had to be changed. Definitely had to be changed a few times. But yeah, so a bit of a special day for them. Marvel, I believe, have Kiana Marshman out, or it might be her last game, but she is their goalie, actually going over to the US, so she's well and truly going to be out of this country. Unfortunately for them, she will be a big loss. Peak have Sky Cossack out this week, who's been a very handy goalie, so I assume Robin Lehman will pop back to goals again. I think Alexander McKay, though, shall be back into Peak. So a few more ins and outs. Peak last time won this by 10 goals, so I probably see them winning it again. They've had a few close wins and just know how to finish off these tight games. So I think I'll go with Peak.
Okay. And then another ripper, this one, top of the ladder, Karoonda rampaging. Lamoureux won their last two, so they've got a win streak going, both of these sides. It should be a ripper.
Yeah. Last time was a 34-goal margin, which we thought was huge, but Pinaroo trumped that with a 38-goal loss. So thanks, Pinaroo, for giving us not giving us the biggest losing margin against Karoonda. No, so Lamoureux have definitely improved and settled week in, week out. They have been training. They've been doing the kilometres, beating. They've got a few Adelaide players who've been beating at Taylor Bend probably every second week, and just training really well. Alicia Nagels joined the A grade lineup and been playing in defence, and she's got quite a strong, experienced head on her. So I think she'll make a bit of an impact in that side. And Lamoureux have just really settled in their centre court and some of their systems. But Karoonda have just been really hard to fault. And as I said earlier, they're not getting too overconfident. They're still training really hard. They know they've got another 2 rounds to kind of go. You don't win premierships in May, do you? So no. I think Karoonda will probably still get this win, but Lamoureux, there will definitely be an improvement on that scoreline. So I reckon it will be another, maybe a 5 or 10 goal win for Karoonda.
Okay. Well, it's going to be another big round 6 of matches. Anything else, Nicole, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, there is a change of times. Juniors are the same, but for the next 5 matches, so round 2, there will be C grade will be playing at 12:20, A grade at 1:40, and B grade at 3 p.m. We like to change our times every round, just so that you don't have the dreaded 3 p.m. game every week. So that's B grade's turn this round. Yeah. But yeah, so A grade will be lining up at 1:40.
Okay. Well, good luck to everyone lining up in Mallee Netball this weekend. Nicole, great chatting with you as always, and we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jason. Bye.